Hey guys, we're watching Striving Students, and we have a very special video today. We're going to be interviewing Mr. Sklar, who is an IB Humanities teacher. He has a lot of expertise. He is an amazing teacher, and we're gonna be getting some of his advice on the IB program, what his class is like, and just some general, high school and college advice. So it's going to be really amazing. We have a bunch of other interviews lined up with other teachers and some students. So be sure to hit that like button if you want to see more videos like this one, and also subscribe so you don't miss out on any of those future interviews. But without further ado, let's get started with Mr. Sklar.
I'm originally from New York. I went to college, I went to Cornell, I have a graduate degree from the University of Michigan. I worked in business for about 20 years in consumer marketing before I became a teacher. Um, and I taught 2 years of special programs, and I've been at Plano East for 16 years. Well, IB is, first of all, it's a pretty intense academic program. So if you like to learn or you want to kind of be in the most rigorous academic program in PISD, IB is probably the place to be. It's different from AP. In AP, you select courses. You can take 2 AP or 3 AP, and you get college credit if you pass the test. IB is all encompassing. There are certain courses you have to take to be an IB. You don't have as many electives, which is a drawback. And then there are other parts which they call the core of IB. Things like theory of knowledge, which is a senior level class, which talks about the way people think, how people begin to generate ideas. There's something called a CAS project, which is community service, and you have to do an extensive research paper called the extended essay, which you work on for about a year. Oh, that's right, I forgot about the IAs. Yeah, so in class you have to do these, what do they stand for again? Internal assessments, where those are also major papers, take a significant amount of research, and you do them in economics and math and science and history. So when you go to college out of IB, you are very ready for college. You are very prepared for college. A lot of times students freshman year, because of the differences in college, they struggle freshman year. IB kids, it's pretty incredible. They don't struggle because they've really kind of learned to manage their time. They've learned about academic rigor when they're in high school. And when they hit that freshman year of college, it's kind of like, this is all you got, college, because I've been through this already in high school. So that is another big benefit of IB. I think it depends on the person. So I love IB, which is why I teach in IB, and I do talk to kids about joining IB, and I'm very happy to talk to parents about kind of promoting IB. But it depends on where academics falls in your life and priorities, and it's not the highest priority for everybody, and it doesn't have to be the highest priority for everybody. And then I think students sometimes who are involved in sports or in a lot of extracurricular activities, sometimes it's not the best thing. So if you're on the football, we have football players in IB, we have basketball players, we have everything, every sport in IB. We have wrestlers in IB, but when you come home from football practice at 7 o'clock in the fall, you take a shower, you eat some food, you eat dinner, and then you have to start your IB homework. So I have tremendous respect for people who are in the band, who are in sports, because on top of that, they've got to keep up with the rigor of IB. So it depends on your level of dedication. It depends on where academics falls in your priority. So it isn't for everybody. AP is great too, though. I think humanities is insanely important. And the reason is that if you want to move up in the world, beyond your entry-level job out of college, you've got to be able to speak, and you have to be able to communicate and write, and you learn that in humanities classes. So, the CEO or the president of an engineering firm does not have to be an engineer, because they have different responsibilities. And if you want to move up beyond STEM specific job and move into management, you've got to have the ability to communicate, and you really do learn it in humanities classes through reading, through writing, through speaking. And at the same time, students who are all humanities I tell them they have to take quantitative classes. Math is really important because if you're going to be a lawyer, you may work for a firm and a case may come up which involves patents or involves a lot of numbers, and if you can't handle that, you're not going to get that case. And if you want to go into government and you want to work on a Senate committee, well, if you can't handle numbers, finance committee, budget committee, ways and means committee, you can't work on those committees. So I think it's very important for both groups, the humanities, lawyers, those types of people who want to be writers, to definitely be comfortable with numbers. And I think the opposite is true too, that if you're going to be an engineer or you want to be in science or economics, you must be able to communicate, which is why I think both courses, both ways, are critically important. I mean, how should they do the schedule? Well, I think unfortunately in IB, a lot of your schedule is done for you. Math is based on where you are in math. If you're in the honors math program, you're going to be a year ahead in math. I know we have some students that are 2 years ahead in math. So that kind of depends. And then in IB, we have standard level classes and higher level classes. And I think a higher level is kind of like what you're majoring in. So you have to higher level in English, which means you're going to have to take 2 years of English, 11th grade and 12th grade in IB. But you can HL, higher level, in any of the sciences. You can HL history, you can HL math, HL the languages. I think you can HL theater. I could be wrong about that. So I think you have to take what you're truly interested in, and those are the kinds of things you should HL in. So personally, I think a student should HL in like a science or math, and then in like what I would call humanities, which would be history or could be economics and things like that. But the great thing I think about high school, like I teach history. So, and I teach the HL, the first year of the HL history class. There are a lot of students who are like, well, I want to be a doctor, so I have to HL in biology. And it's like, you're only in high school, it doesn't matter. So if you have an area that you're really interested in, but you may not be able to take a ton of those classes in college, because if you're going to be an engineer, I have a son who's an engineer in college, he doesn't get a lot of electives. This is the time that you can really learn history, or you can really, take 2 years of economics or something like that. Or even if you're a humanities person, if you want to become a lawyer, but you love biology, this is the time to like HL biology and get some great intensive biology instruction. Well, I think you should definitely come in with an open mind, and there's an adjustment period because you're not going to the 9-10 school. You're going from 8th grade, middle school, into a senior high school, and you have senior high school teachers who are definitely different, and not better, not worse, different than the teachers in the, like Macmillan or Jasper, schools like that. And I just think you have to make friends, and there's a lot of group work in IB, and a lot of students study together and collaborate together, and they kind of get through it and they kind of survive together. Well, HL history is for people who really like history. So the first year of HL history is primarily US history, and I maybe do like 5 or 6 PowerPoints a year. That's it. So in HL history, you have a lot more varied readings than you would have in APUSH. And APUSH is a great course. And in class, we discuss the history. So we talk about cause and effect, multiple perspectives. I don't stand in front of the room, or stand on Zoom, not anymore. I don't stand in front of the room and just lecture about Thomas Jefferson or Abraham Lincoln or Henry Clay. Like, you will have read about Henry Clay, and we'll talk about the relationship between Henry Clay and John C. Calhoun or Daniel Webster, and how the actions of like the Whig Party impacted the Civil War and things like that. So, and then the second year of HL history is called World Area Studies, or 20th Century Topics, where there are 3 major areas that the teacher picks at the beginning of the year. It's very much like a college seminar, and you delve deeply into those 3 areas. So this year they studied war for an entire semester. And it's not just the battles, it's the philosophy of war, it's the politics of war. They studied authoritarian states, which are all these kind of wild, authoritarian leaders. And Then also they studied rights and protests. So it's a pretty broad U.S. history course the first year, but you go into a lot more depth than you would in APUSH. And then the second year are these 3 areas from the 20th century that you go into depth on. A lot of discussion, and there's more writing, which is a good thing, versus on level or APUSH. Well, first, if you're going to lose your old friends, it's your problem. Like, you don't have to lose your old friends. And you especially don't have to lose your old friends with the internet and all the stuff that you guys have today, which I didn't have when I was younger. But yes, one of the things about IB is when students graduate, the second semester of senior year, which I don't know if you guys are experiencing it or not because of this crazy year, but they really make friendships, like life, and I'm not trying to be melodramatic, but lifelong friendships. And they've been through it together. It's a small community within a big school. You kind of get the benefits of both. And they keep these bonds and these friendships. And I know that because I keep in touch with students, and they all, within their own groups, they all talk to each other and they stay in touch. So I think if you're thinking about, being in a community with people that you form strong friendships with, I think IB is probably a very good alternative. So to summarize, I think IB is not for everybody. I love IB. I love the students in IB. I think, as I just said, when students graduate, sometimes you kind of suffer your way through it because it's rigorous, which you guys probably know. But when you graduate, most students seem to be really happy they went through IB. And I think the best way to make a decision is to talk to students who are currently in IB. They're going to tell you the truth. They're going to tell you the good stuff. They're going to tell you the bad stuff. And then I think you weigh your decision. But no matter what you decide, there's great life after AP and there's great life after IB.